something, characterized by a connection to someone or something. That's wired. So that means, what are you connected to? So I was doing the PA for today, as well as the Real Leader Brain, and also announcing the live. And what I found is I have a bag, old school. Look at this old Ziploc bag, and it's got old phones in it, plugs, and all kind of electronics. My hard drive from my old Mac, more RAM. And I used to have a subscription to Wired. I used to have a subscription to Wired magazine back in the day. And so they sent us these. It was so cool. It was a power brick. And basically you used it to charge your phone. So I can't connect to that anymore, because I think this, and Nola probably will remember more than me. I think it's 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. But I thought it was cool, so I kept it. People keep some of their technology. And so Wired. So we will have this as a reminder. And then also, anybody who's traveled across the world. When I was in Korea, I was the second lieutenant in Korea. And my first duty assignment was in Korea. When you first get there, you have to stay in a hotel in the economy. They have, as an officer, they don't have housing available for you, so you have to wait. So I lived in a Korean hotel for 3 weeks. Well, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know the difference between a 220 and a 110. So I plugged my Plymatics hot curling iron into the wall, and smoke came out. Hence, I found out about these. Now, when I travel, I have my different connections, so that whatever country I'm in, it's a nice little cool little bag. So you get to have the right wiring, so you're not blowing up anybody's anything. And it tells you what country, and this is going to be backwards, but it literally tells you the countries that you'll be in and where you should use them. So that's cool in case you forget. So now you're not blowing anything up. It's written on all of them. And now when I leave the country, I now have connectivity and I'm wired properly. Now, the example that I'm going to use today is this. So this is from one of my old Samsung phones. So I have the Samsung brick and I have this wire. And so I am connected based upon my definitions, characterized by connections to someone or something. This works for one of my back in the day, probably my Note. It's probably from my Note 5 or Note 8. Now, this is my new cord for my new well, it's not new, but my newest phone is a S22, right? So this works. I am connected, I plug it in, and it works. Now watch this. If I take this old Samsung cord, this whole Samsung brick box, and I take my new Samsung cord, I'm no longer connected. Can y'all see that that's smaller than that? So now I'm not connected to the right source, the power source. I'm not wired to the right connection. Conversely, the same thing will take place with this. So if I try to plug this into here, if you can see that, hopefully I got this black shirt on, it won't fit. It will not fit. So this wired won't fit, okay? So I can go to the old phone and it works. And I can go to the new phone and it works. So what has happened? I have pruned this wiring. This is an old neural pathway. Used to work for this old phone that I no longer have. So I'm no longer wired to any of my Note phones, okay? I am now wired to my new phone. So this is neurogenesis at its finest, okay? So this was an old neural pathway that no longer works. So if I try to plug this into here, it's not going to be wired, it's not going to be connected, and vice versa, okay? So this is Loserville. Old connection, no longer functions at all. New connection, okay? So what's happening? People want a new neural pathway, but they want the new neural pathway to work in the old way. So you can't take new neurons and put them in the old sources. That's not what's going to work, okay? That's not going to happen. So when you create neurogenesis and you create a new neural pathway, you got to have the right wiring to go to the result. So if I want to charge my current phone today, I need this cord. If I try to do it with this cord, nothing is going to happen. So does that make sense? When you start thinking about neural pathways, now you have a visual. Your wiring. Where are you wired to? What is taking place with your